This is Betty Boop. You probably see a cute, harmless cartoon from a bygone era. You are completely wrong. This character was a cultural rebel, the star of the world's first music videos, and was at the center of a Hollywood courtroom battle so big, it changed her forever. The real story of Betty Boop is not what you think. The journey to stardom began as a complete accident. Betty Boop was never designed to be the main event. In 1930, she trotted onto the screen for the first time in a cartoon called Dizzy Dishes. She was a quirky side character meant to be a love interest for the show's star, a dog named Bimbo. And speaking of dogs, Betty wasn't even human. She was a strange, unnamed anthropomorphic French poodle with long, floppy ears and a dog's nose, singing in a cabaret. But the moment she appeared, something electric happened. In theaters everywhere, audiences went wild for her. People were cheering louder for this bizarre, charming dog girl than they did for the actual hero of the cartoon. The public reaction was so instant and so massive, the studio animators had no choice but to listen. The audience had basically pointed at the screen and said, "Her, more of her. We honestly don't care that much about the other guy." Over the next year, the animators performed what could only be described as an extreme makeover, 1930s edition. Her floppy dog ears morphed into her signature hoop earrings. Her black button nose became a tiny human one, and she was transformed into the fully human superstar we know today. She didn't just get a promotion, she completely took over the show. She wasn't a star created by a boardroom. She was the first cartoon star truly chosen by the people. So what did people see in her? Betty Boop arrived at the perfect moment in history. The world was suffering through the Great Depression, a time of immense hardship. But bubbling just beneath the surface was the rebellious, joyful spirit of the jazz age. For the first time, a new kind of modern woman was capturing the public's imagination, the flapper. And Betty was their animated icon. While other cartoon ladies were damsels in distress waiting to be rescued from a pickle, Betty was the one driving the pickle truck. She was smart, sassy, and fiercely independent, living on her own in a bustling city. Her cartoons showed her working jobs, running businesses, and even running for president. She was a reflection of the modern hopeful spirit that people desperately needed. She wasn't a fairy tale princess in a faraway castle. She was a cool city girl who felt real, relatable, and revolutionary. This modern attitude was supercharged by the studio's true secret weapon: music. While other cartoons had cheerful background jingles, Betty Boop's world was powered by the hottest, most authentic jazz on the planet. The Fleischer Studios did something absolutely groundbreaking. They essentially invented the music video. They collaborated with real-life music legends, pulling them directly into Betty's animated world. The most famous example was with the king of Idaho, the electrifying Cab Calloway. The animators filmed Calloway's incredible dance moves, then painstakingly traced over them frame by frame, bottling his lightning in an ink jar. In the cartoon Minnie the Mooker, this animation was transformed into a ghostly walrus who danced with Calloway's exact, otherworldly grace. For audiences, watching a Betty Boop cartoon felt like getting a secret backstage pass to the coolest club in Harlem. It made her feel daring, exciting, and unbelievably cool. The public reaction was nothing short of an explosion. Betty Mania swept the globe. She wasn't just a character people watched for 6 minutes on a Saturday. She became a cultural obsession. Her face was on everything. Dolls that winked, clocks that ticked, bars of soap, and jars of candy. She was one of the first and most successful merchandising empires in animation history, a charming black and white version of a viral internet takeover. She was more than a character. She was a brand, an icon, a craze that brought a much-needed dose of joy and style to a world that desperately needed it. So, what was the secret ingredient? After all the research, after looking past the merchandise, the music, and her quirky origin, the answer is actually very simple. The secret ingredient was that Betty Boop was the first cartoon character who felt truly alive. She wasn't just a series of drawings. She was a personality. She had opinions. She made mistakes. She was smart, funny, and sometimes a little bit vulnerable. In a world of simple, one-note characters, she was complex. She wasn't a perfect princess or a bumbling fool. She was a reflection of the modern, hopeful, and unbreakable spirit of the very people watching her. That was her magic. She didn't just entertain the world. She reflected the very best of its modern, hopeful heart. After her original cartoon series ended in 1939, Betty Boop largely disappeared from the public eye for decades. The tamed, censored version of her character faded away, and for a while, it seemed her story was over. But you can't keep a true star down. In the 1960s and 70s, a new generation began rediscovering her wild, energetic, pre-censorship cartoons. They saw what the original audiences saw: a character who was rebellious, surreal, and unapologetically cool. She was rediscovered not as a relic, but as a vintage icon of a bygone era's edgy style. This comeback sparked her second wave of global fame, cementing her as a permanent fixture in pop culture. She became a fashion icon, her face and style appearing on countless modern products, from high-fashion apparel to everyday accessories. She even made a memorable cameo in the blockbuster film Who Framed Roger Rabbit, a moment that introduced her to millions of new fans and officially acknowledged her status as animated royalty. Ultimately, the reason Betty Boop is immortal is because she is more than just a character. She is a time capsule. Her timeless design is instantly recognizable, and her original cartoons are a perfect, joyful window into the vibrant energy of the jazz age. She is the godmother of animated glamour, a symbol of a rebellious spirit that simply cannot be erased. She survived being forgotten, she survived being censored, and she came back stronger than ever. Betty Boop wasn't just a star of the 1930s. She is, and will forever be, an icon for the ages.